2:02. Usually we start on the time, but we're still waiting for Shui Linlin. We have seen her already, but she had to change the location. She seems to have a similar problem as we have in the institute, that the live performance of their computer environment, the online environment, is at home better than in the institute. So she started to connect with us in the institute, but we found out the line is so bad, so she moved home. And luckily, Shui Linlin lives on the campus, at least part of her time, with her family, and so she doesn't have that much of a walk to get back to us. And she was promising she will be with us pretty soon. I just ask you for a little patience, and then we start. But maybe if there is already another member of the Global Design Thinking Alliance. Oh, there's Shui Linlin. There's Shui Linlin. Great. Now we have to connect. We can connect her with the audio signal. And since Shui Linlin is wearing the feathers, I have to do the same thing. Shui Linlin, I hope the connection is up and running now.
I hope so.
Yes, yes, perfect, perfect. So let's give it a start with our little trailer.
Uli, we have to share our screen. Yes, we have to. You have to share the screen.
So welcome to our second GDTA powwow here online. Since powwow is a meeting of North American natives, the Indians, so that is always our start. And I'm really happy that, that Shui Linlin, our special guest today, is wearing the feathers. So I have them prepared, but you are looking so beautiful. I can't believe it. So I put this off, and you keep it on. Thank you very much for joining us here. And Steffi Schwertfeger, who prepared the event, she is going to share now some slides. Is that right?
Yes.
And I'm really happy, Shui Linlin, that you made it back home and to a better line. So what we do in this shorter hour now is we'll listen to Shui Linlin. She is the director of the Design Thinking Innovation Center at the Communication University of China in Beijing. And that will last for maybe 30 minutes or so. And then we open the floor to questions. I hope you have questions to her, and then we start exchanging And then at 3 o'clock Central European summertime, we'll close down, and we then invite you to the next one. So, but right now, the floor is open for Shui Linlin. And oh no, I think there's another slide about the netiquette, Steffi. Is that right? Or with, no, there is the slide up there. Yeah, please use the Q&A button or the chat button down there. Steffi, in the background, she will check your questions and your chat commands, and she will make that bring that to our attention. Use the raise hand button, which you find down there, and I think most of you are very familiar now with Zoom and with the Zoom webinar functions. Right now we stay in the kind of webinar mode, but later for the Q&A session, we will open the floor and put you all, if you like, on stage to chat with each other. And now to the slide for Shui Linlin, I can't see her anymore. She is somehow hidden herself. Lin, what happened? Excuse me? We cannot, now we can see you again. I hope we can hear you again. It looks a little bit scattered. So what, I'll give a little introduction. Everything okay?
Okay.
Okay, good. So we met lots of years ago, actually, in China, in Beijing, while I used to be a visiting professor for computer animation, computer graphics at the Communication University of China at your place. That was at the time before I started the School of Design Thinking. And I remember very well, I took that picture with the helmet out of the session we did, I think it was 8 years ago, even more, in Beijing, when the Communication University of China was also jumping on the design thinking boat, the first university in China to open up a design thinking center, and Shui Linlin became the head of this center. And my good old friend, Professor Liao Zhengzhong, he was at that time the dean of the animation department. And he moved up, became the vice president of the university. Now he is the president of the University, Communication University of China. And I was really impressed, I have to admit, my first visit at the Communication University of China to discover an incredible large media university, way larger than everything I have ever seen before. But that was something which is for every Chinese very normal, to be in organizations which are larger than in other organizations and other places on the planet. And then I was really happy to see Professor Liao, and together with Shui Linlin, move design thinking into this university and make it a part of the curriculum. And I'm really happy that you're now with us, even if Corona is hitting Beijing another time now. And you were so, when we had our last chat, you were so happy that it's opening up, and now it's closing down again. I hope that doesn't affect you, since it's more in the west, you are more in the east of Beijing. I hope that is not affecting you too much. So thank you very much for joining us. And now, Shui Linlin, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Uli. Thank you for your invitation. I feel very honored to be invited. And what I'm going to talk about today, let me share my slides right now. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what I want to share, what I want to talk today is the design thinking unplugged. What do I mean by unplugged? Is actually that normally we can do design thinking very interactively and face to face, like what I show in the picture. The picture was taken in 2015, and it's summer. It's the Design Thinking Asia Summit. But right now, as the coronavirus is hitting the whole planet, so for us, it's like the engine power has been shut down suddenly, and then everything get unplugged. And how can we deal with that? So, and a little bit introduction about myself. As Uli mentioned before, I'm the director of the DTIC at my university, CUC. And my background is a game designer. I designed a game called Three Kingdoms Kill, which is very famous in the young population. And also it was designed and published 12 years ago. And now the game is still online. So it's a kind of success. And then I was honored and selected to some very high standard committees in China of the game design. But I was worried that how could my creativity, how could I keep my creativity, and how could I move on? And I was very lucky that I visited Uli in 2009 with the president of CUC, Liao Xiangzhong. Right now is the president, and then I started to jump on the design thinking track. I spent like half a year in HPI Potsdam as a student first, and without the help of Professor Uli Weinberg and other friends at HPI, we could not do this. And after I studied in HPI, I went back to CUC, and with the help of the president of CUC, I set up the DTIC in 2014, which was like 6 years ago. And after 5 or 6 years practicing of design thinking, I felt somehow I needed some fresh air. So I flew to Stanford last year, the year before last year. Right now it's 2018, and I spent 1 year in Stanford as well as a courtesy professor, and did some research with Professor Larry Leifer and his PhD students. Right now I'm back in China. So, and a little bit background about my university, CUC. Actually, it's honored as the cradle of China's radio and television talents. And it is actually the #1 university in the field of information communication. Yeah, we started officially started DTIC in 2014, and we opened classes for students, graduate students, undergraduate students. And we have professional trainings for companies. And also we are now working hard on the K-12 classes, cooperating with some schools in Beijing. So that's basically the 3 kinds of classes that we can provide. And yeah, as we all know that the whole planet is hit by the corona. And also China is suffering. I would say, especially Beijing. Right now, Beijing is the center of it's like the corona home in China. It's the center of the virus. So what I want to talk about today is first, what is happening in China. I think that may be a topic that all of us want to know. And in general, And then I would like to talk about what CUC did with design thinking. It's also, I think it's a good chance for me to report to the president of GDTA what we did in the last 6 months. Right? First, I would like to talk about what is happening in China. I would actually talk about the changes, the psychological changes and also behavior changes. Why? Because I believe that changes also means opportunities. Changes, if we see the changes, we can somehow predict what will happen in like 1 year or 3 years. So first I want to talk about the psychological side. I have some some picture from my friend on the WeChat platform. Sorry, it's in Chinese, it's in Mandarin, so I will translate what he is talking about. He is saying, I have been isolated for too long. I want to go out and play, I decide after the Corona, I will go to the Burning Man Festival in California. So because, you know, people in China, almost everyone has been isolated for at least 2 months. You could not go out. You have to stay at home, only stay at home. Yeah, with your family, with your kids, and yeah, so a lot of problems and a lot of psychological problems as well. So people would like to somehow release themselves, and as I said, no crazy, no life. So it's like what we want to do and we happen to do. Yeah, we will do it as soon as possible. So yeah, those 2 pictures are from Beijing. The left one is the subway of Beijing. If you have been here before, you will know that what the subway was like. It's like if you want to get on the subway in rush hour, there will be a pusher who push you into a subway, and you will be squeezed like a picture in a subway. But right now you see it's empty and people keep the social distance. And then the right picture is also from one of my friend. He was saying that, oh, I need a car. And I realized that I deserve a good car. So on the business side, you see people want to have a better life, and they reflect on themselves and think that no one knows when the bad things will come. So they would like to buy something that they always want to buy. That's the first thing that I realized. And the second thing is that the consciousness of potential dangers. Every time something bad happens, and people will aware of the risks of life. And for example, those things are from my husband. No. We had a very big earthquake in 2008. That was 12 years ago. And my husband bought this like disaster prevention bag, and he renewed the stuff in the bag every half a year to prepare for the might coming disaster. And he also bought some rope and other stuffs, which you can see on the left circle, and which can help us to get down from the 21st floor. You know, that's crazy. And yeah, for the coronavirus, of course, people started to realize okay, I have to pay attention to like the public issues, and then yeah, to the business side, the insurance company has new opportunities to grow. And a lot of companies, enterprise, and individuals, they tend to reconsider about their insurance plan. And also, what happened to me is that I started to work out every day. Yeah, I like hiking while I stayed in Palo Alto. And after come back to China, and then we have the coronavirus, I cannot go out, but I started to jump ropes at home every day. Yeah, and it's become very popular among the Chinese citizens right now. We did all kinds of exercise every day, kids, adults, and then I think the healthcare get more opportunities in the future as well. And one more thing about the employment system is that the companies start to realize that what's the biggest payment for the company might be the human, might be the salary of their employees. So they started to search for a more flexible employment system, which means that one employee can work for different companies and get salaries from different ones. It's better for the company, but on the other side, it's also better for the employees as well. If you are if you are a specialist, yeah. So what about the behavior changes? Behavior changes. The first I would like to talk is the rigid demand will delay but not disappear. What do I mean by rigid demand? Rigid demand means that you will have to do it, whether we have the virus or not. Yeah. For example, if you want to marry someone, right? If you miss the day, you will find another day to do it. But if you want to take dinner with someone, if you miss it, okay, maybe we will not do it again. For example, we had the coronavirus in January. That was a time when the Chinese people, it's a time for Chinese people to go back home and have the family reunion. It's called the Spring Festival in China, the biggest festival. But anyway, we missed it. We cannot go home. We have to stay. Yeah, so you missed it. You will not do it again. But something, if you miss it, you still need to do it. So like the decoration of the building or decoration of your home, yeah, it will still, the demand is still there. But however, some companies are very fortunate, very lucky. The online companies, yeah, we have tried several different kinds of, apps, softwares for teaching, for online meeting. The top three software in China right now is Zoom, Tencent Meeting, and DingDing. Tencent Meeting, of course, from Tencent. DingDing is from Alibaba. Normally, in the past, people would be very hesitant to use this kind of online meeting software, because especially for Chinese people, we do business on dinner. If you want to do business with someone, you have to eat with them, you have to make jokes with them, and you have to drink with them. And so face-to-face is always the first choice, a priority. And but right now we are forced to use this kind of online apps. So for us, we tried different ones. For the education, I tried at least more than 10 different kinds of softwares. Yeah, and the cases are right now we're using this for meetings, for complaints, education, and for the for seeing a doctor. Yeah, we also do it online. So these are also the top three usages. Yeah, for online. And we had SARS in 2009. That was a big disaster 17 years ago. And at that time, 2 companies took the opportunity and became the unicorn company and now super large in China, which are Alibaba and Jingdong company. Both of them are online shopping companies. But this year we have another unicorn company, which is Pinduoduo here on the left side. Pinduoduo is also a shopping company, online shopping, but it has 3 different features, I would say. First, it is mobile based, so people can order their stuffs online on their phone. And second, I think it's a group shopping. So if you have 10 people who have the same interest which you have, and you want to buy the same thing, and then you can get a lower price. And the third one is that Pinduoduo is very popular in the southwest China, and it's a lot popular in the big cities like Beijing or Shanghai or Shenzhen, but it's popular in cities in a like poor area. And yeah, because it's a group shopping, and it will ask you to, okay, you can ask maybe your friends will be interested in the same thing with you. So yeah, it's kind of, you have to send this to your friends. And people in the big cities, they don't do this. They don't want to bother their friends. They don't want to show what I want to buy to your friends. So it's kind of difference, yeah. But right now, this company is super big, and yeah, during the coronavirus, they had a very beautiful sales curve, I would say. And another trend is that the residential area became a new commercial center, which means that since we were isolated for a long time, and we could not go anywhere, and then we have to order things on your screen, and then yeah, someone will deliver what you need to your door. And also you can see the robots, which was designed for hotel services, also be used this time, because it will deliver the goods to you without people, human-to-human interaction. And also a lot of vending machines were set up, yeah, in your residential area. And what CUC did with design thinking, I would talk about three things we did. The first, at the very beginning, we designed, we made our first MOOC, design thinking MOOC of CUC. I would say we did that in only 2 weeks, and we made some videos, made some slides, put some slides on the web. And it's more like a prototype. And we think that the MOOC is more like one way. It's from the teacher, the professors to the students, and the students cannot get their feedback. So we plus 1 hour interactive WeChat meeting each week with the students. Through WeChat, you can see on the left two pictures are WeChat screens. Students can ask questions and also can show their pictures, videos to the professors, and can have some interaction with each other. And on the right side, the right picture is about the MOOC that we have of CUC, and I have a short video explaining what the MOOC can do on the next page. Sorry, it's in Mandarin, and I have some English explanation by voice, by audio.
Well, this is the space for design thinking classes for CUC students only. And unfortunately, it's only in Chinese, so I can explain it a little bit for you. Here you can see the announcements of the class. What is design thinking, and how we are going to arrange the class, structure the class. Here is how the students can get their credits. For example, discussion, taking 20%, and reading materials, reading papers, 20%, and also the design and the final test, making 60%. If you take 60, it's okay, but above 85 is excellent. Some books about it. And also, here's classes. For example, let's take we can see there's several videos. Each week we have 4 or 5 small videos. Each video takes 8 to 10 minutes. And totally we have 8 weeks. The class. And also there's a discussion. See more than 10 discussions each night. Also about different weeks, we have different discussions and questions for students. And the students can also share their learnings to other platforms like WeChat, Signal, Microblog, and Tencent, and the teacher can also remind students when the class is on. Basically, like this. This is the space for design thinking.
And the second thing we did after making the MOOC, and we have some free time, and we think, what can we do with design thinking to help the society, especially when we when we are in this difficult situation. And then we started to interview the people in Wuhan city, because Wuhan was a center at that time, which first have the Wuhan city has more than 10 million people, 10 million citizens, but all of them were isolated, and the whole city was isolated from other parts of China, which means that nobody can get into the city or get out of the city, except you have special permissions. And I thought I am not the doctor, and I don't have the specialists of curing people. So what I can do is that we interviewed people and see what we can help them. So what we found was that when the family members get together, they were kind of don't know how to get along with each other. You know, from day to night, 12 hours, 24 hours per day, and 7 days per week, and that brings a lot of problem, and especially for the kids with their parents. We normally said that we often said that the family is the first class for students, but actually, when the kids get back home, their parents don't know what to do, and then we have the design challenge of how might we improve the family quality time for isolated parents and kids in Wuhan. And since I'm a game designer, that we designed a table game for the families in Wuhan, and it was a card game. We just give all of them a handshake, and then they can print it out, and they can cut and make cards by themselves. And we made a video to give some instructions that how to take the game. I can show you a little bit about the product.
网购一家已经待在家好几天，他们都很想出门，突然从天而降一个东西，他们把它打开，原来是大魔王挑战书，于是他们决定加入这个挑战。首先需要准备些什么呢？先把手册分为3个部分，第一部分是每个都需要个别打印一份，并且单印打印哦。第1章背景调查，第2章我的技能，第3章战略计划。第2部分是需要双面打印的，就是奖励卡与取悦卡这部分。我们把它双面打印下来之后，还可以沿边剪下，是不是很可爱啊？最后的部分是剩下的手册，只需要打印1份单面就好了，就是下面这几张哦。这是勇士团队需要共同完成的部分。拿出背景调查页面，回忆之每天一定要做的事。填写到左上方的每天任务表格中，记得为他们编号，然后把每天的任务技能，能量越高的技能越需要越高的精力来完成哦。每个时段获得的，携手迈向伟大的战场吧。
So it's basically something like this, and we did this in less than 2 weeks, and then I did a lecture with families in Wuhan with the help of the Wuhan city government, and then over 380,000 people watched have seen the lecture, and also the one of the most influential media called People's Daily in China also reported this online. So it's kind of that's something we using design thinking to help people that we love. And, sorry. And the third thing I would like to talk about is a hardware that we made for our students and teachers who want to teach design thinking. Why we have this idea is that one day I received a message from the president of CUC, Professor Liao Xiangzhong, and he mentioned that Linlin, I think Design Thinking Innovation Center worked quite well, and we want to expand it to D-School. And we have like more than 10,000 students per year in CUC. And you know, it's a big number, and how can we teach all of them, like everyone? If everyone want to learn design thinking, how can you do that? And of course, I don't have so many coaches, qualified coaches. We have enough students, but we don't have coaches, and I don't want to lose the quality of teaching design thinking, because, you know, in some other universities in China, they also teach design thinking, but they teach it in different ways, like only one professor in a classroom and over 100 students in a room. So we tried different versions, however, I mean, in CUC, but yeah, I started to think maybe we can have some robots, some machines who can help us taking some responsibility of the coaches, and then it will release somehow the pressure of the professors. So we did this in a design thinking way. We have a How My Way challenge called How My Way Teach Massive Students in an Interactive Way with limited design thinking coaches without losing the quality. So yeah. So then we have the idea of an interactive table, which means we have a touch screen and then a screen, a normal screen together. And here's a video. We're still developing this hardware. It's not a final version. We tried the Whose Life Is It? Yeah, and see how it works. Yeah, the video is of a lot of good quality, but yeah, somehow you can have a, I mean, have a feeling how it goes. Yeah. Oh, time is. You can see it's a normal screen and showing the steps of design thinking, and then your team. Yeah, let's start. And with facilities. So each team will have one of this software, have one table, like 5 to 6 students will have one table with them. And then we have some markers on the interactive table. The markers has information in it, like the information from the persona. Yes. Let me see. Yeah, this is a marker. And then you can have the picture and throw it to the upper screen. Yeah, and then they will ask you to the next step is making the persona effect. Now this is a persona. Let's do it quick, fast. Something like this. Yeah, you can also write on the post-it, and then more questions, more guiding questions. Yeah, now it's my time is up. So yeah, thanks, Uli. I will hand over it back to you. And I have your quote: "Stay negative, but think positive." And thanks very much for your invitation. Back to you.
Thank you, Linlin. Thank you very much for sharing your experiences, not only with COVID, regards to COVID, but also to with your design thinking experiences in the school. And actually, what was completely new to me is the piece of hardware you were showing. It looks very interesting. I'm trying to find out what it really is. Maybe you do another talk about that to talk more in detail about it. Mm-hmm. So I want to start with one question, and then we want to open the floor. We have another about 10 minutes or so to go, and I don't want to take too much time for myself. But I was looking at through the last years, I was following the development of design thinking at the Communication University of China, and you were talking about the interest to train all the more than 20,000, I don't know the number, students at your school. And yeah. So how? But then I tried to find something on the English version of the COC website. I was searching for design thinking, and there I saw a lot of media departments. Everything is there, but there's something about innovation. But so, what kind of role does it play in that huge university? Can you share it a little bit?
Right now it's more like the basics for like. We have a department, I don't know how to translate it, but it's like, okay, the basics that you would like to, you have to know. So in the first year of the graduate students and undergraduate students, first year, the freshmen, they need to take this kind of classes. There were three schools in this center. It's like D-School and another traditional Chinese culture school called Yangming School, and another writing, something only for writing, how to write good articles, another school. So like innovation, writing, and traditional culture. And so these three parts are the basics, the knowledge that you would like to have, and you must have somehow in CUC. Yeah.
Okay.
That's why we have so large number of students. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I would like to invite now Richard Paris on. Here is a question, and Richard Paris is also one of the founding members, like yourself, of the Global Design Thinking Alliance. Richard Paris is running the D-School in Cape Town, and he is coming up with a question. I can read it, and then you can see in live. Do most students have access to good internet connection to do the courses online?
Sorry?
Do most students have access to good internet connection to do the courses online?
Most of them, I would say. Yeah, we will have some problems with some students if they live in rural area. That may be a problem somehow, but not only problem to design thinking classes, but a problem to all kinds of classes. And that's very sad. Yeah, I mean, more than 95% of students can get access to the classes. Yeah.
95%. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was luckily also the situation at our place here, so we could easily move towards online because there is a good internet connection at home, and also the conditions at home are somehow okay. Richard, you want to add something to that?
No, can you hear me, Uli?
Yeah, I can hear you.
No, I think it's just an interesting challenge we've had here in South Africa around students not having access to internet connectivity, and trying to not discriminate against certain students that can have access and can't, because I guess at the end of the day, they all bring the equal value into the team space in the sense of their perspectives and worldviews. And in some ways, I guess the ones that perhaps don't have access to internet or into technology or live in rural areas can often bring a very interesting perspective to a team. And for us also has been a challenge. You don't want to leave those students out, because they have a lot of value to bring.
Mm-hmm. Mm. I completely agree. Yeah, and right now, since China, I think China developed very fast in the last few years, and yeah, the internet connection right now is not somehow a big problem for us here.
Yeah, I see Lucky also joining here, and I see also Matt Parkinson, also one of the founding members of the GDTA, and Joanne from New York also joining. Maybe we put all of them, if you like, for the last 5 minutes on online screen. And make yourself visible. Matt, hello, good to see you. Richard.
Howdy.
Good to see you. We have a little GDTA meeting here as well. Lucky, how are you doing?
Good. Good, Uli, how are you?
I'm fine.
Hi, Linlin.
Hi.
Enjoyed your talk. Thank you.
So any questions to Linlin? Anything to share from your side or to ask?
I had a question. The last program, the Massive Reach program, which you started, what is the current status? How many students are you able to cover?
How many students? Actually, we set it up in different classes. Like each class is 30 to 50 students per classes. Yeah.
Yeah. So in what period of time, how many number of students totally?
Each year we have like 10,000 students together. But right now we opened like 3 levels of classes, which is one for undergraduate, 2 for undergraduate students, and 1 for graduate students. And for graduate students, I think there were like 3,000, and for undergraduate, like 7,000 somehow. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
How do you expect things to change over the next few months?
Oh, that's hard to say. As Uli mentioned before, Beijing is hit by the virus for the 2nd wave. So I think after 2 months, yeah, I mean 2 months, maybe we can get back to normal. But right now it's difficult to say. Yeah, and we have to live how to survive with the virus together. Yeah.
How's right now the situation at CUC? Is it half open again, or is it closed, or what is the situation?
We half opened the campus a week ago, but right now it's closed again. And now every day we have different policies, and every day is changing. Yeah, like yesterday we have 50 more infected people in Beijing, in the city, and then the government get very nervous. Yeah, and only half of the employees of companies can go to work. Yeah,
in Beijing,
and all the schools are shut down right now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just going back to sort of looking to the future, do you see when things do return to normal, will you stay online? Will you do a blended teaching in design thinking, or will you go back to how you used to teach more face-to-face?
I think we will blend the online and offline, because we also find what we learned from the online teaching is that first, it's not as difficult as we imagined, because before this, I thought it's kind of difficult because I think it's very interactive, and the professors have to watch the students and give them instructions real time. And it's more like surfing, training how to surfing. But you know, after doing this, we find that we can divide what can be taught online and what cannot. And also what we learned is that the students are more interactive, which surprised me a lot. Because the Chinese students, especially the Chinese students, they are usually very, very shy and hesitate to express their feelings while face-to-face, because they don't want to lose face. They self-judge. And but online teaching, they are super interactive, and they ask questions online. And because somehow you don't know who is who, and then yeah, you know, it's a quite different situation. Yeah, so I think there's something valuable for the online teaching. Yeah, especially for Chinese students. Yeah.
Do you think that when they're put into chat rooms where there might not be an instructor involved or in the room, that they are also more open because there's more, you know, less hierarchy? Do you think that plays a role?
Yeah, hierarchy. Yeah, for the Asia people, I think hierarchy matters a lot. And online, yeah, without the physical hierarchy, and yeah, they are more tend to speak. And also on some platform like Bilibili, the platform we used as well, yeah, they can type what they want to say on the screen. And then you can see a lot of texts on the screen, and you don't know who made it. and it's funny, yeah.
There's a question from Raluca from Romania. She's asking, and she is actually representing our good friends at CBU University. They are starting. Raluca, can you speak? You are saying you cannot show your video, but I can read your question. But can you speak?
Uli, in the chat it says there's no mic also. So
okay. So she was asking, how did you? She's very curious how you managed to spread the design thinking mindset at CUC. Did you already have other similar initiative in the past? Because that is the problem they are facing at CBU University. They want to establish a design thinking lab with the help of Hasso-Plattner Institute, actually with the help of Hasso-Plattner's personal money as well, which is great. But of course, it's a traditional university, a technical university, and so she's curious, how did you have any example before introducing design thinking?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you have to have some strategy, yeah, how to set up a new institution. Yeah, for example, when I was in HPI in Boston, and Uli had an opportunity to invite the professors from Stanford to do a workshop in Germany, and wow, it's a good opportunity. And then I write to my president of CUC saying that, there's an opportunity. Maybe you can send some of my colleagues here. And of course, he will send the people who he trusts. And of course, they will get a very exciting experience back home. And even if I could not go home, but those people came to Germany for 1 week and go home before me, and they will bring some good news to the president, right? And the people who he trusts saying, oh, it's good, it's super good, and blah, 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 and they took a lot of pictures and videos back to him. And so it's like you have this kind of speakers for you. And when I get back home, I also need to have more speakers in my school and in the university as well. So I asked Uli whether can you help us do a teacher training, and we have more than 30 teachers trained, and you know, you have people to support you, and yeah, get more people involved, and also making classes outside, not only in the classroom, because in the classroom nobody can see it, and then you move it outside, and wearing strange hat like this, strange hat, and people were curious about what I'm doing here. And CUC is kind of the like the cradle of the famous journalists and like the television hosts. And then yeah, you know, get started. I made it started like this.
Yeah, I think that is actually a crucial point with your university, that you have a voice into the public. You have airtime on the largest television channels whenever you like, because you have all the good friends which are former students at your school. So now we are officially at the end of the GDTA powwow session with Shui Linlin. And I would officially now end that. I think, Steffi, you will agree we should do that. We should also stop the recording but not without announcing the next event. And I'm really happy that Richard Paris is already here joining us, because we will have him on July the 2nd. So in about 2 weeks, we'll have him as our special guest, talking about the situation in South Africa. He will show us hopefully some pictures of the building, of the new building, the first design thinking building on the planet, specially designed for design thinking purposes, which will start becoming under construction in a month from now. And he will share also some of his experiences through the last years, actually setting up Design Thinking School, the sister institution of the HPI D-School in Potsdam in South Africa, in Cape Town. So I'm looking forward to your presentations and to the chat with you. So thanks to all the official visitors and participants here of the GDTA powwow. The unofficial part can still go on. I've seen some alumni of the D-School, some guests who were there. So for all of you who like, we can chat for maybe another 10 or 15 minutes.